I am taking a hike at Sculpture Falls in Austin, Texas. And really enjoying the fresh air and the sunshine and the cool mornings now that it's fall finally. This is my favorite time of year. And I am really reflecting on my blessings, not just recently, but in general. Like, if I look back over the course of my life, as challenging as it has been in so many ways, as it is for most human beings, I think, life is not easy. I've always been provided for. And as stubborn as I have been, as much as I've repeated mistakes over and over and over again, being so hard-headed, I've been given so many chances to start anew and start afresh. And I think I finally surrendered. For a long time, I fought the surrendering process. Like, I knew there was this conflict within me that knew intellectually that that's what I needed to do in order to stop struggling and suffering so much, because what I was doing constantly was fighting reality and resisting what was, and that's where most of my suffering was coming from. I was being reactive and resistant rather than responsive and responsible. I might stop talking if I walk by some people, because I don't want to be. I am weird, but I don't want to make them feel weird. But so blessings, like, you know, I finally reached a place in my life where, like most people, I chased after money because I was taught, like we all are, I was indoctrinated into this belief that money is the tool for meeting our needs. Forget the knowledge, forget the wisdom, forget the faith. All you need is money. And I always knew deep down that was wrong. And I watched people around me go to jobs that they hated, and as a result be depressed and anxious and miserable, and at the same time point the finger and tell other people if they weren't living in such a way that they were irresponsible. And that never made sense to me, because it always seemed like, well, how responsible it is to live a life that you hate, and it makes you sick, and it makes everyone else around you sick too in the long run. Like, I just didn't get it, and I felt like I knew deep down that if I looked around me, I saw that we've been given everything by God, right? But so a lot of my adult life was spent in conflict of that deep inner knowing, and then what I was being told by society and the world around me, which is to not listen to that and to put my faith in money and to chase after it and make myself basically a prostitute to it if that's what I needed to do. Like, if I needed to go to a job that wasn't in line with my values and ethics, well, if I'm making money, then that's okay. That's what you got to do, because that's the bottom line. It's not responsible to be in a situation without money. So, but then, you know, there's certain lines that we'll draw societally, but then that line keeps getting moved back. Like, you know, no prostitution. Okay, so I'm not supposed to sell my body, but now we have OnlyFans. So now, but we don't call that prostitution. And, you know, don't be a drug dealer, but hey, it's okay to go to work for Big Pharma. Like, you know, like, we are whores to money. We are addicts to money. And what I'm saying, and I've always seen that and known that and resisted that. And then because of that, sometimes I would struggle with the idea of having money at all, and I would think maybe money itself is the problem, and then I realized that no, money is just a tool. It's the love and the worship of money that's the problem. So I think I finally reached a place where I'm okay living out my values, even if they are not in line with or reflective of the status quo's values, you know. And I think it's because I got called crazy for so long and was ostracized by so many people that I no longer have a fear of that, because it's already been done. So I can just go ahead and do in my heart what I know is right, regardless of the societal consequences. And wow, what a blessing. So I know a lot of people have a problem and take offense to saying, like, you know, trauma makes you stronger. But it can. Okay, it's not the only way to become strong, but I think we can take all the hard things that happen to us and turn them into blessings with our mind, with our consciousness, with our heart. I think life and all it offers, even trauma, is all a blessing. It's all a gift. And that's how I choose to look at it. So, and I think that trauma, I've said this many times before, but I think one of the ways in which it is a blessing is that trauma creates struggle and grief and sadness and anger and all these really hard emotions that give the potential to have the equal and opposite experience. So in other words, the more you struggle, the more grief you experience. To that degree, you have the opportunity or the capacity to experience joy. And let me tell you, I've been to the 9th layer of hell. So I've been to the 7th heaven as well. And why does hell have more layers? But you know what I'm saying. So I like recently, let me tell you, so what I'm saying is I'm not scared of hard work, and I'm not lazy, but I don't subscribe to this 9-to-5 bullshit. Like, for me, it's bullshit. For me, it's a form of slavery. I'm not saying work is slavery. I'm saying chaining yourself to some illusory some illusion of stability because you're going and committing your life to a 9-to-5 job, which can be dissolved or taken away at any time. Now, there's nothing wrong with working a 9-to-5, but I don't find joy in that. It makes me feel trapped, so I don't do it, but I do work. And the way in which I find work and go about work requires me to have faith. It requires me to go about each day being completely present and seeing what's right in front of me and being responsive to that and asking myself, is this opportunity going to lead me in the direction I would like to go? That's what I'm looking to do, is continue to move forward and to grow. And that's the way I'm living my life. And so I have found that living that way, I've been able to meet my needs. I show up and I'm present, and God provides the opportunities. And if you're living in that way, it's not really like, it's a lot harder to fall asleep. You have to pay attention. You know, it keeps you hungry. It keeps you going. Whereas if you think, oh, I have a job I can go to every day, I can just rely on this. I don't even really like it, but hey, it's paying the bills, and you're working for somebody else. They could snatch that job away from you at any minute. They could ask you to do something that's not in line with your values, and if you've become so addicted to that supposed security that you might give way and let your ethics and values slip and act out of line because of those things, because of the security and the money that you become addicted to. So I try to avoid falling into that trap by not working for others. I work, of course, with others, meaning like I will do work for another person, but they're not my boss. God is my boss. You know, I'm on God's payroll, and He blesses me often, but I do show up to do the work to receive the blessing, and I'm paying attention to even see that it's there to receive. So like I didn't have to, but I decided to evacuate Florida from Milton. I had just returned back after leaving because of Helene. And so I was there just not even a week, and like helping friends clean up their houses that had been flooded and cleaning up sacred grounds in St. Pete and sacred lands. And then bam, I was sitting under a tree in a park, and I heard God say, "Get out now." And that was on the Saturday. Milton hit on a Wednesday, so this was on Saturday before that. Just a few days before Milton hit, I got a very strong message that said, "Get out now." And I don't play around when I hear the voice of God. I listen and I obey. And I have come to do that because of the hardship and the trauma and the bad things that I've experienced. You know, I've been trained upright by God to listen. Because when I don't listen, there's a greater possibility that I will experience hardship. So I listened and I left. And you know, I wasn't like super happy about it, but I knew it was the right thing to do because God knows everything. God knows better than I do. And by the way, we all have a direct line to God, but we're distracted from it often, and we often don't hear the voice of God because we're listening to other people and looking to other people to tell us what to do and where to go, and we're chasing money. Okay, this is like the point of all this. When you stop chasing money and you let money or any other opportunity come to you, you really become free. So, you know, I was tired because I had just been traveling and doing all this work, you know, and I didn't really want to leave, but I obeyed. And, you know, I was thinking like, oh, I'm spending all this money driving all over the country. And, you know, that started to creep in. But as soon as I got to town, like the day I got to town, I got a gig helping a person like organize their house. $20 an hour cash. This lady gave me thousands of dollars worth of crafting and art supplies, like really expensive crystal beads and gold and silver plated wire, like that, literally thousands of dollars worth of treasure. So that's a blessing, okay? That's potential money, potential energy that I can use to get my needs met. And it's a lot more adventurous and fun to live in faith and live with trust in that way. You never know what's coming, but you always are paying attention because you have to. So that's just one of the blessings I've had. It was like this week, a literal treasure chest, 2 treasure chests full of treasure, of beads and jewelry. And so I'm having fun going through that, and I'm making art with it. I'm making jewelry with it. I'm selling it online. So that's going to be some income. But since I was a young kid, I felt like the world around me, our society, is so contrived, and it's only gotten worse. And I have always had this sort of allergy to oh, here's somebody coming. I've always had this sort of allergy to participating in that. I'm going to stop while they will go by. Hi, puppy. How are you?
Yeah.
Good. Hi. So I've always had this sort of, like, almost a little bit of disgust around how contrived things are in our world. I've always known it and felt it, and so I've always had this, like, kind of a rejection of that, and not wanting to participate and therefore perpetuate the fakeness of it all. Because when you interact with it and give it credence, that's what you're doing. But then when you don't participate in it, it kind of puts you on the outskirts. You become an outsider in a way, and a bit of a loner, and you can find yourself feeling lonely. And that's been my life experience. But like 2024, all of this shit's being revealed, just how contrived and fake and manipulative all of it is. Like, from the time this has been going on for several generations, okay? Like, we're all brainwashed and mind controlled by Disney and Nickelodeon and mass media and the public school system and politics and movies and music, all of it. And, it got really bad when Edward Bernays came onto the scene and started fucking with our minds psychologically, with his Liberty torches and his bacon and eggs and his box cake mix sets that still require an egg. So, hey, you're not completely useless, women, Like, all of that bullshit. I felt it. I didn't always understand it all intellectually. But as I continue to learn and grow and become wiser, now I do understand it intellectually. So I think it's becoming so apparent this year, it's all being revealed, that you have to not be just asleep, but you gotta be fucking dead. You gotta have no pulse at all to remain unaware of what reality actually is, okay? And the reality is that this is all a damn show. We are living the Truman Show, guys. We've been cut off from our God, our Father, and the love of God and the worship of God has been replaced by the love of and the worship of false idols, and I'm talking movie stars and pop stars and rock stars. Okay, and we worship that, and we worship money, and we worship things because we were made to worship. Okay, but we were made to worship God. And that has been used against us. We've been put to sleep. We've been entrained. Our minds have been controlled through the understanding of spiritual laws and psychology, which we were all of that knowledge was taken from the vast majority of us and then used against us. But then they went ahead, all of these people that have all the money and the power and the influence, and they fucked up by giving us access to the internet, which is meant to be a weapon to control us all, and that is how it's being used right now. But it also is a way for us all to start talking to one another, and that's why they're trying to make free speech a fiction, because they realized that some of their plan is kind of working against them, So what we're experiencing now is an awakening, a mass awakening in consciousness, while the powers that be that have had a hold on this world for so long are experiencing death rattles. Okay, we feel it. We see it. It's scary, and there's a lot of chaos going on. But this is all soul alchemy. It's all spiritual. This is a spiritual war. And guess who wins? God. And you are a child of God. We all are. Everything on this planet is a creation of God. And a lot of us have been recruited into an army of darkness without knowing. Okay, so we got to help each other. We got to rouse our brothers and sisters that are asleep in this house that is on fire. And we all got to link hands and put the fire out. Okay, and then we'll use the biochar and what remains to grow a beautiful, beautiful garden.